Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Santilli here with a Jade Helm 15 update. It's an important one. This one's a doozy. I want you to pay close attention here. As we've been asking all of our listeners and YouTubers to send us links, record, document, and send us any troop movements we've actually received from a gentleman out of Portland, Oregon, Slacker 614, military convoy, Union Station in Portland, Oregon. Let me play this, okay, because he's showing armored personnel carriers with gun turrets on the top that are moving out, and there's equipment here in this convoy, and I'll provide the link, but let's just scan through this convoy. Now, see this equipment? It's electronics equipment that's used. Now, the exact application, I don't know what kind of electronics they have in there, but I'm going to describe to you why they would need heavy electronics out in the field. For instance, to identify the location of our nation's veterans. That's one application, and we'll show that to you. Palantir Corporation and the VA have merged their databases together to find out where our nation's veterans are, like myself. But let me show you something very interesting in this convoy of military equipment that was loaded up on rail car, okay, all the way to the 3-minute mark. Here we have something very interesting here, okay, and I want you to pay close attention to it. As he zooms in, there it is. Now, see this equipment that's on these rail cars. Now, being that my MOS was 6521 Aviation Ordnance, I'm very familiar with explosives, munitions, is placarded typically with high explosives, or it'll indicate what it is: high explosives, incendiary. But these special storage containers are not marked, indicating that there's no ammunition per se, but they're small, they're mobile, and they're able to be forklifted onto equipment and forklifted off. Now, why is this important? All right, and there's quite a bit of these units here that you may not at a first glance know what they are. And this gentleman doesn't know what they are, but that's okay, because guess what? I'm going to share with you what these storage containers are all about, provided by Slacker 614. This is what you stumbled into. One application for these things is as follows: is to actually store and secure armament, okay? Guns. Ladies and gentlemen, these storage containers essentially get loaded onto these trailers in the convoy. They use the special electronics equipment. These special operators identify where the veterans are. They go out, confiscate weapons. Now, by the way, these storage containers are not for issuing armament, because, as you know, when the troops go out into the streets, they already have their armament issued. This is for deployment on small units with armored personnel carrier. When they confiscate the guns, they actually load them into these storage containers, okay, from pistols to long rifles, of course. And then these special units right here are used to identify the location of, let's say, Pete Santilli. What's his address? Where is he at? Let's go get his guns, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, with armored personnel carriers backing up the units, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I'll also share with you in an episode that we did with Bobby D. House. I'm actually going to share. This matches up with what we spoke of with Bobby D. House.
So what exactly is their initiative, their directive? Gun confiscation, what else?
Yeah, disarmament is the top one.
Disarmament, huh?
Disarmament and population control, basically, is the way they're working it. They want to be able to tell you what to do. They want to be able to tell you what you can't do, the hours you can do it, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, we actually did that interview on June 10th, just a couple days ago, and it certainly matches up with what we're seeing with these convoys. Armored personnel carriers, of course, with these special electronics units. And then we also did an episode that identified Palantir Corporation as merging the database that was provided to them by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and it coincides and overlays with the map of Jade Helm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something right now. When you see these storage containers and they're floating about in your neighborhoods, in your local area, if they're on the back of one of these trailers that you see with these electronics units, This is an unconstitutional military convoy, and I want to strongly encourage you to get thousands of people to surround them, bust those containers open, and redistribute the guns, of course. Okay? These guns shall not be confiscated in violation of the Second Amendment. We need to defend our country. Now, the military, as well as law enforcement, federal law enforcement, local military, are going to be in this exercise, Jade Helm 15, conducting an unconstitutional, especially if it's related to gun confiscation, because here in the United States of America, our constitutional republic says in the Second Amendment that it shall not be infringed. But this gentleman, Mark Lastoria, Lieutenant Colonel, he's a Jade Helm public affairs officer. I have told him personally, he knows who I am, he knows who we are and what we're doing. Let's let this public affairs officer from Jade Helm, his telephone number is 910-432-3383. Send him an email, PAO@SOC. He is actually Special Operations Command Public Affairs Officer. Let's expose him and let him know that when we see these containers out there with these heavily armored convoys and vehicles, that gun confiscation will not be accepted here in our constitutional republic. When we find those things, we'll bust them open and redistribute all the guns to the people so that we can defend our nation. Am I suggesting that we attack a military unit? Well, if that military unit decides to go unconstitutional, I'm going to say we have to defend our nation. God forbid if that should have to happen. But as you see here, we don't want these special units that are designed to hold our guns. And thank you very much, Slacker 214, for providing that information. I'm Pete Santilli, providing you, of course, with Jade Helm updates. We're posting Dabu 7's videos as well. He's got great information coming to his channel, and we're doing our absolute darndest, as we told in a recent episode to Lieutenant Colonel Mark Lastoria, that we will essentially expose his plan through this Jade Helm PSYOP, a Jade Helm PSYOP that will allow them to covertly extract military veterans. They've got databases together. It's a very, very sophisticated platform. Jade is actually a software platform. They're merging it with the private sector, veterans databases. They know where we're at. They know how to extract us. They just need to practice it in Jade Helm 2015. We as a people should expose it. We should let this little story know that his public relations propaganda campaign has failed, will fail. We will expose the Bluebell ice cream truck operators that are trying to blend in so that they get in and figure out where guys like Pete Santilli are, take all his guns, and then, of course, throw them in these containers here to be taken away from us so that we can't defend our nation. Let's expose it. Let's bust it wide open. Send us information, ladies and gentlemen, to bunker@thepetesantillishow.com. Send us news tips, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and tune into the show Monday through Saturday, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Pete Santilli. We'll see you in the next show.